Whether or not the Warriors need a bucket or whether they need a stop, one man this season has always answered the bell. Two-way Wiggs is what they call him these days on the streets, and despite the recent losing streak of the Warriors, he still believes that the #1 team in the league is Golden State. And you know what? I agree with him. Today, we'll take a look at just why Andrew Wiggins is so good for the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, but when he steps on a basketball court, he's one bad dude. And I'm serious. For the season, Wiggins has been averaging an efficient 17.1 points per game. I mean, a little over 50% from within the arc and about 40% from beyond the arc. Being honest, those are statistics that I'll take in a heartbeat. It's not going to get him into any MVP conversations by any stretch, but if you look at how he's getting his points and when he's getting them, it'll make you say, dang, that D'Lo trade was amazing. And speaking of how and when, I was going to explain it to you, but a wise man once told me that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is worth 1,000 pictures. So, with that being said, let me just show you. First off is Andrew Wiggins' ISO abilities, which is a game changer for the Dubs, especially when their outside shots aren't falling. In this clip, Wiggins is isolated against the smaller Lonzo Ball on the low block. With no help defense coming from the Bulls, Wiggins simply takes advantage of the mismatch by bullying his way inside, and is able to finish with the flush, a high percentage play that Coach Kerr absolutely loves. Same thing here, when the Warriors need a bucket, and if there's no double coming, he'll just eat you alive. And the thing is, if the defense cuts him off, Wiggins has plenty of counter moves to create the separation that he needs for that sweet mid-range game of his. His fit for the Warriors is a match made in heaven. I mean, he's literally the perfect supplement to the outside shooting of the Splash Brothers because of how versatile he is on offense. His quickness, his strength, and aggressive mindset, my gosh, guys, just take a look.
Wiggins. High glass and good.
#1 in NBA history. Of course, Bucks are not a part of that. Drive.
Wiggins with a drive. A hanger.
Work against OKC. Steph tried to set that back screen. They were ready.
Wiggins right down the lane with a...
The truth is, Andrew Wiggins is a legit 3-level scorer who can punish teams from the inside and outside.
More out there, two defenders, wing defenders. Bielitsa the pump fake. Outside, Wiggins, three, bullseye!
It's a tough one, he had to earn it. Trent Jr. 0 for 6.
And finally, when both avenues are closed, like I said earlier, Wiggins has that sweet mid-range game that he's improved upon a great deal over the offseason.
Spins, long two-pointer, got it!
Kevon Looney back in for Golden State.
There's actually not really a weak point to his offensive game right now because he can do a bit of everything. Now, we just saw what Wiggins is capable of when he has the ball in his hands. But the thing is, he's equally as effective in off-ball situations, which again, is why he's so good in Steve Kerr's motion offense system. The Dubs love to run this decoy play where Curry would set the screen, then Wiggins would take advantage of Curry's gravity and just cut back door. And here it is again. On the other hand, Wiggins also has the instinct to move or cut during free-flowing offensive sets, just like in these situations. Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Warriors, has closely worked with and oversaw Wiggins' growth and eventually his evolution to becoming an all-star starter since the day he got traded to the Bay Area. He revealed the reason why he is such a big asset to the team in an interview, and here's what Kerr had to say. Andrew is just the most humble, modest guy. He's playing with such ease and it's great to see. He's put all the work in. He's dealt with a lot of stuff over the years, a lot of stress, people calling him a bust and all that stuff. He's just put his head down and worked, and he's earned this. In addition, Coach Kerr also said, I think it's just the smoothness in his game. There's no indecision. When he's open, he's just rising up and shooting it. No hesitation. He's aggressive defensively. He's just got a very quiet confidence about him. Well, since we already covered his offensive game, why don't we follow Steve Kerr's lead and check out his defense for a second. Wiggins is pretty active on the defensive end of the court and oftentimes disrupts passing lanes using his near 7-foot wingspan. When that happens, the turnovers that he forces usually lead to cakewalk buckets on the other end.
Up top, and the one-hand pass, stolen very often in the NBA. Warriors have been down as many as 24. Wiggins not getting it. Wiggins in the foot race. Wiggins in the...
Now, if your opposing players try to challenge his defense, Wiggins' footwork is quick enough to keep in step with them all day long, regardless of whether it's a guard or a center.
Jones saw that play the whole way. And Hart blocked.
I agree with you. Scary part is I don't know if I agree all the way because I gotta
Getting a breather right now for Golden State. As said.
Heck, even if you're a king. You can see here that Wiggins has been challenging about 14 shot attempts per ball game and is holding people to shooting about 43% when he's the one guarding them. Andrew Wiggins consistently guards the opposing team's best players and isn't afraid of stepping up to the challenge. Next off, from defense, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about the other underrated facet of his game, his passing ability. In this transition play against the Bulls, Wiggins has a clear path to the hoop, but when the lane clogged up, he didn't force it, and instead opted in for a much higher percentage shot here by finding the open man. Now, in this possession, Wiggins had the mismatch against the smaller guy and could have easily just posted him up here and went for a baseline fadeaway. But instead, Wiggins showed his unselfishness, followed Kerr's system of player and ball movement, and opted to pass the ball to Clay for him to finish the play. And in this play here, Wiggins could have used his athleticism to finish with contact on Embiid. However, he went for the higher percentage shot by feeding the ball to Looney after he made Embiid commit. Anyway guys, from what we've seen all season for Air Canada, it's clear that Wiggins is playing an effective and efficient game within the Warriors system on both ends of the floor. Oh, and one more thing before I forget. While both offense and defense can be learned and developed over time, the one thing that is hard to cultivate is a killer mentality. Luckily, the madness of Steph and Clay has rubbed off onto Wiggins a bit, and as a result, whenever his number has been called this season, he always rises to the occasion.
Thompson calling for it. Wiggins instead shoots it.
You can get an 8-second violation if you're careful. Westbrook just realized that it's deflected and stolen.
Easy.
Bazemore's got it. Put ahead to Wiggins.
Got a chance here for the Warriors. Draymond Green kicks it. Wiggins at the hole.
Wiggins against Butler. Oh, and
Managing the clock as well as getting a good shot. Wiggins.
The arrival of Wiggins has certainly made the Dubs a much more complete team. And in an interview, Wiggins spilled the beans about the dynamics of working with the two greatest shooters in history. It's hard not to like to play with Steph and Clay with all the open shots you get, the space you get in playing with them. Steph is a legend and is one of the GOATs. It's fun playing with those guys. They're special. The NBA has never seen people who can shoot like them. Playing alongside them is fun. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what crazy shots they'll make. After being labeled as a bust in Minnesota, Wiggins looked back on the trade that had rejuvenated his career and talked about his experience of being part of the Dubs organization. I was ready for a new chapter. I feel like we both reached our limits. I feel like the trade worked out for both parties and both teams. I feel like it's a good fit. The style of play complements my game. We're like a family here. Everyone looks out for each other. We all want everybody's best interest. We all want everybody to have success and do well. The energy is so positive. It's a vibe that everyone wants to be a part of. It's special. Anyway, guys, on to a slightly different topic here. The playoffs are just around the corner, and I just made my predictions of how it'll play out for Golden State. It's going to be an insane postseason, guys. You already know that. So make sure you go ahead and watch the video, and like always, I'll be with you on the other side.